Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for watching. My name is Wes, and this is the Universal Life Church of Massachusetts. We are brought to you by thehipbee.com. Honey and beehive products. You can go to the HipBee, that's THEHIPBEE.com, thehipbee.com, and there's a link down in the description. Also check out the HipBee Explorer. That's another YouTube page I run, and we explore different interesting sites all around New England. Go check it out. You may find it's very interesting. And we also do some gold prospecting. We show you how to find gold. So check it out, the HipBee Explorer on YouTube. There is a link down in the description for that as well. Today I want to talk about pandemic and Passover. It is that time of year. Passover is coming up. Easter is coming up. When we talk about Passover, we're talking about Easter, really. The Jews and the Christians, the Catholics, may celebrate it at different times, but they're basically celebrating the same holiday. They both have different teachings, esoteric teachings and exoteric teachings in their religions. And the exoteric teachings are what the general population, and they go to the local church, most of them, and that's what most of them hear, the teachings of the exoteric. The esoteric, the inner part, the more ancient and original teachings are closer to the truth. And it's done that way for a reason. But we're not going to get into that today. We're going to get into what they are. What is Passover? What is this time of year? And there are a couple of allegories before we get to the esoteric teachings. The first is the astrological Passover or Easter. And what that is the sun makes a cycle. The earth goes around the moon, and that cycle creates our seasons. And this is the Passover from winter into spring. And that's that's the astrological view of it, where the original teachings began, because April 1st used to be the new year. And this was a Passover into the new year. And the sun moves into the constellation of Aries, or the Lamb. They're represented both ways, and that is where we get the sun consumes the lamb, and consuming the lamb, because the sun consumes the lamb because it moves into the Aries constellation. And that was a celebration time because spring was coming. It's renewal. It is a rebirth of everything on the planet, starts anew and starts to grow, the beginning of the next cycle. That's the astrological Passover or Easter. Now, let's move into the allegorical, and both of these allegories to explain something else, but I'm going to get to that last. I also want to explain the Bible. Now, the Bible, Passover in the Bible is in this story of Moses goes to the Pharaoh to get the Jews out of Egypt. And he wants to have them leave. And the Pharaoh says no. So Moses tells him that God is going to send 10 plagues to the Egyptians. And one of those plagues was the killing of the firstborn. All right, and what you would need to do if you didn't want your firstborn killed is, if you were if you were a Jew and you didn't want your firstborn killed, then you would spread lamb's blood around your door, and the plague would pass by, sparing the firstborn. It would pass over you. Now, that is a quick version of where the Passover comes from in the Bible and astrologically. Now I want to get to the esoteric version, the inner, the ancient, and what it's really talking about, what all these both of these allegories are trying to get at. And what they're trying to get at is you. They're trying to describe you. Now, the firstborn is when you are firstborn, you live your life. And it isn't until you grow and learn and develop until you get to a state of enlightenment. And that state of enlightenment is also called the ego death. Death of the ego, because you have to go through that to become the enlightened. And when you do, you are reborn. The ego dies and you're born again with a new perspective on life. And in the Bible, what they're saying is those who are good and living a selfless life, the ones good favors or God favors, then the plague will pass you by. If you're not, and you're living a selfish life, then the plague will affect you. Now, the Passover I'm talking about in the esoteric version is the Passover from the left-thinking carnal mind to the right side spiritual mind of enlightenment, the Passover from unenlightened to enlightened. And that is the Passover that these allegories are trying to teach. Now, what does that have to do with the pandemic of today? And I want to get into that because it's in the Bible. It's saying that the firstborn will be killed, and they're talking about the selfish, the carnal mind, the one in the carnal mind lives. I mean, everybody has selfishness and selflessness in them. Some people have a lot of selfishness in them. Some people have a lot of selflessness in them. Selfishness is evil. Selflessness is good or God. It is within us. All right? So, how does selfishness affect you if there is a pandemic or plague coming? And we're having a coronavirus pandemic going on right now, and it's serious, and we need to be selfless. We have to understand that we can spread this. We have to avoid large groups of people. There are sacrifices we have to make for the good of everybody, including ourselves. Now, if you're selfless and you understand these things, you will do the precautions needed to help everybody. But if you're selfish, you may not change your lifestyle. You may not want to make any sacrifices at all. And your comfort is more important So you may just go to large groups of people and take your chances and take risks. And those risks will affect you because you're putting yourself at a higher risk. So when you look at it, selfish people acting selfishly during the time of pandemic will spread the disease and possibly cause more deaths to those that are selfish, living in the carnal mind, being the firstborn. So there is psychology that works here. It's all logical. It's not magic from an invisible being up in the sky sending a plague down. These are just, if Moses was a real person, he was wise and he knew the things that will happen to selfish people because they're creating suffering for themselves. Now, how do we protect ourselves? And that is acting selflessly. Thinking about others, not just yourself. Of course, we have to protect ourselves and do what's needed to catch the virus, but we also have to do what's needed not to spread it to other people. And we see on television a lot of people acting selfishly, making comments and statements just for their own benefit. And that doesn't help. We see people hoarding toilet paper that they'll never use. I mean, well, they may a couple years from now. We see people price gouging, buying toilet paper and trying to sell it for more. Very selfish and greedy. But them hoarding all these products that other people are handling isn't making them any safer. The virus could be on those packages that somebody else just put on the shelf, and if you're rushing around to gather them all up, you may be gathering up the virus as well. So we have to be careful about what we do. And acting selflessly and helping those that need it around you, and taking care of yourself is what you can do. And that is a quick overview. I hope I didn't go too fast over each one of these things. A quick recap is the astrological Passover, and Easter is the change of seasons with the spring equinox. You pass over from shorter days to days with the length of daylight was increasing, but the nighttime was still longer up until the equinox. And on the equinox, day and night have equal time, and then you pass over, and now daylight has more hours of the day. The days become longer than the nights. And in the Bible, we talked about the plagues and the Pharaoh and Moses and the lamb's blood. Where's the lamb come? It comes from Aries. Aries, the lamb, is the astrological. So you can see that these allegories mingle together. They get some parts from one and it's put into another. And that's how stories change over time. But the real truth, the esoteric, the meat of it, is you. It's talking about you and the cycles that a human goes through and the Passover and the rebirth that you have to go through. And how you do that is a video for another time. There are other videos on this channel. that talk about enlightenment and awareness, and it is a process, a natural process that the human goes through in their lifetime, and basically shifting from a selfish lifestyle to a selfless lifestyle, the lifestyle Jesus was talking about. So that's about all. It's a little bit shorter of a video today. I just wanted to put this in here and talk about this because the holidays are coming up, and I wish everybody to stay safe out there and live selflessly. And until next time, peace.